name's Nathan, aka Alkhemist. The company's called Alkhemist Limited. The website is called alchemistvision.com, and we're here to bring back the culture. Basically, what I initially wanted to do was to pay homage to the ancestors, because there's a lot of history that hasn't been told, a lost history that's been sort of forgotten, and I wanted to put that in the brand through the designs and the concept, what I'm doing within the clothing line. That's my mission, that's my objective.
Why Alkhemist?
Well, long story, but I'll kind of break it down. Breaking the word down, alchemist, chem means black, and obviously mist is mystery, so it's to do with the black mystery, it's black sciences. You've got, you know, the parables in the Bible where like Jesus turned water into wine. That's a form of alchemy, lead into gold. Our ancestors were pioneers in terms of the sciences. That's where we come from. We're a scientific culture. That kind of relates to me as a person as well, because historically I've got family that have been sort of, you know, doctors and nurses in the past. My father's nickname was Scientist. I kind of took on that name when I was a bit younger, Scientist Junior. Then I sort of branched off from that, formed the name Alkhemist, which obviously means to have basically one form to another. So it's also in terms of the spiritual sense, so you can change your reality from one form to another as well, so it doesn't have to be necessarily a physical, atomical structure. It could be changing your reality from another as well. So when you see my logo, you'll see sort of transmutation of circles which represent energy. We've got elemental patterns as well. That's a lot of stuff derives from Egypt, from the temple of like Luxor. Historical countries, not necessarily just Kemet, but this is what the foundation of the sciences, looking to bring that back. In the jewellery, we've got sort of spiritual protection, lifestyle wear as well, such as sort of orgonite, which what they do is they gather any sort of negative energy and store it inside the orgonite and convert it into positive energy, and it beams back out of this pyramid. If you sort of purchase one off myself, you're most likely to have you know, a really relaxing environment within your home. You see signs and symbols in different brands, which we don't obviously know that if they're going to be sort of negative, because a lot of it derives from sort of old deities in the past, a negative effect on our lifestyle. So these are things that are going to be definitely pure, and that's one of the obviously safest things I can really say, because you're having items that from the ancestors. So it's not just necessarily me designing something that thinks it's going to look cool. I was made redundant just over 6 months ago. That was a push that I kind of needed. I didn't use it as an excuse to say, you know what, I've got my head in my hands and what I'm going to do, look for another job, which obviously that's what a natural person wants to do. What I wanted to do is to build from that and create character for myself, knowing that there's a lot of people that haven't had jobs for a long period of time, suffering from depression and whatnot. I needed a project, so I'm quite a motivated person, so I didn't want to let this get me down. I use it as a door and a window of opportunity to, you know what, I want to venture off and I want to do something new. So it may have been a push from, you know, the ancestors or sort of a divine intervention, you just don't know, but at the end of the day, it's got me here now, and you know, a lot of big things are happening. Just getting my head around the concepts of what I wanted to emit to the world. So that was sort of the foundation, the building blocks, just write down actually what I want to do, pen and paper, what concepts do I want, what do I want to achieve, show the world what we're about as black people, first and foremost. So that was my first drive to push and keep consistent with that. In terms of the designs, like I mentioned before, we've got sacred geometrical designs, we've got designs with certain animals that are related to the culture. We're launching a baby range on the 5th of October, so watch out for that. Kids wear, adult wear. Later on down the line I'm looking to do elegant wear as well. So I said it's early days, but I'm pushing so fast and it's going so quick that I've got a momentum now, and that will give me the drive to sort of push and to you know, build well. There is something that the community wants that I haven't actually put out there. I'm open to ideas as well, because it's not me, it's for the culture. It's something that I'm not being selfish of and doing something that sort of I want to put on a shirt because it looks good, because like I said, it's for paying respect to the culture and stuff that's been lost in the past.
What are some of the forms of protection that your clothing and jewellery protect you from?
Definitely from negative energy. On a day-to-day basis, you've got people that either boost your energy or drain it, what I call them, or there's a sort of common name for it called energy vampires. You've got people that really want to sort of sap onto your life force and your light energy. Obviously through the culture, have historically protected people in the past. This is something that you're physically wearing as well, so you're physically wearing the protection and the symbols from the ancestors. In the jewellery section as well, you've got jewellery that will protect you from radiation. So I've got certain pendants that will protect you from microwave radiation. That's sort of a slow killer and causer of cancer as well. So you can literally wear this pendant around you, and if you're putting something on in the microwave, you've got something that actually creates a force field around you to protect you from that sort of energy.
What kind of symbols are you using and what do they represent?
I mentioned before, the symbols from ancient times. And not necessarily just symbols, different patterns, different concepts, different forms of creation. So it's not necessarily just the whole symbol thing that I want to kind of like put across. I'm representing different cultures as well, not necessarily just the black community. I'm representing things that form the marriage from other parts of the world as well. Sometimes in life you get that fight or flight moment, and obviously this is the fight moment for me, and I'm sort of coming out sort of all swinging. But like you're saying about the jobs as well, you know, you're only really kind of a month away from being broke anyway, you know, unless you've got sort of massive savings. So and that's a system. Having obviously multiple sort of income streams can obviously help reduce that. And obviously having your own business and being an entrepreneur is definitely for me the way forward anyway, because number one, I can sort of control my time and sort of utilise it to the best of my ability, not necessarily working for somebody else, even though it's not really a problem working for somebody else. But so that was kind of one of the biggest ways for me to kind of like see how I'm progressing in this arena really.
If someone wanted to start their own business, there's things that they should be aware of.
It's probably, I would say, support to a certain degree. Obviously, you know, family and friends, you know, your close-knit circles and stuff like that, but maybe some people that probably are expected to sort of support or believe in me haven't. So it's kind of an eye-opener in that respect, that actually, you know what, I thought people would have actually like wanted to buy something off me, or, you know, come to certain events and whatnot. You kind of see things for what they really are when you're down, and that's kind of the reality of it in some cases. In terms of the setbacks, obviously financial as well, obviously having sort of limited amount of funds to get things started up and projects opened up and doors opened.
What were the things that you had to do to work around your financial difficulties?
Get another job, part-time job, just to get some extra funds in, definitely to help sort of pay for maintenance costs, pay for material supplies, obviously garments. Going back to the garments as well, on the sweatshirts upwards, they're not printed, they're all embroidered. So each piece of garmentry has between 40 and 60,000 stitches per garment. I wanted to express and elaborate on the intricacy of these patterns and these shapes and these designs, funding that as well, so it's not just your usual kind of like jumper with looks, you know, in a certain way, but that comes with a cost. It can go from the flyers, business cards, travel expenses, going to meet people and having meetings with different suppliers and whatnot. So there's a lot of different factors that obviously most people won't take into consideration. For any young people that are starting out, or young or old to be fair, but anyone that's starting out, you obviously take those things into consideration, because at the end of the day, you know, if you want to make things move, it will move, but just have that in mind and have that in the back of your head as well.
I like the way that you've said that. It's good that people see that we have to invest into ourselves. And I feel like people buying your clothing is investing in themselves, because when you're operating at an optimum level, you're at your peak, you can maximize your own potential. And I feel like that's what your clothing allows people to do. Who have been some of the inspirations, motivated you, kept you on your path of where you are today?
Definitely has to be a family. My mother, you know, when she actually was the first person that saw your promotional ad, she forwarded that to me, and that was like the first sort of 2 months from when I was made redundant. So it was kind of like an instant sign, boom, this is coming, it's in Brum, let's do it. So she sort of WhatsApped me the video, your promotional video. 10 minutes later, I'm like, okay, boom, let's book a stall. So that was a drive for me, kind of meeting you as well, and having like-minded people around me that wanted for me to succeed. Family, you know, just showing them mock-ups of certain designs before I got them printed, showing them mock-ups of a certain concept and getting their opinion on it, and getting feedback from people that are going to be brutally honest with you as well. So I would say definitely family, definitely the core of kind of boosting me up and helping me to sort of succeed and follow my dreams, really. So yeah, thank you, Mum.
What advice could you give to someone that if they wanted to start their own business?
First thing would be definitely research what you want to do. Is it actually going to be for you? First and foremost, it could be like, okay, I want to do the most glamorous thing and sort of go off and backpack and do something crazy and adventurous and start up something, a crazy concept, but just still stay on that level mentally, but kind of like tone it back down as well. What are your measures? How specific are you going to be in terms of getting that achieved? What's the time span? How realistic is it? Be obviously a foundation for you to sort of make sure it's actually going to be attainable, which I'm sure it will be. You can do whatever you want.
What was the best things about being self-employed for you?
Time. Yeah, you just don't appreciate how much you can actually achieve in a day when you've got a full day to do it. Like, that's why I think everyone takes weekends. Like, you know, everyone, when
waiting
the weekend comes, no, everyone can't wait, because it's like, boom, I got 2 days and I'm just gonna kind of go all out. So, and obviously weekday, and you break the word down, weekday, you're week in the day. You got your week in those days of the week, so because you're working for somebody else, and obviously the weekend is the end of that weakness, so you've kind of got your strength back. So you kind of like, it's a play on words, but that's kind of how it is. Working for somebody else, you're kind of restricted to your lunch times, you're restricted to what you can do and what you can say and stuff like that. Having that time back to build on something that's actually for me, you just can't really, I can't really put words into that, to be fair, because like you said, I've sort of drafted this in less than a year, and the momentum's just kicking in now. So
what are you hoping to achieve from sponsoring the event?
I think first and foremost, just getting the word out there, getting myself out there as a person and obviously as a company, to sort of deliver the message about the culture to young and old people, because some people have the concept that because you're older you know a lot of stuff about the history. So just broadening that concept of people young and old knowing about the history through sort of the clothing, and also through yourself as well, and the other sort of 100 stalls that are going to be there. So it's not just about me as a person. This event is a catalyst for people to not only shine in their sort of individual arenas or fields, but it's also for the city and the country and the world to sort of know that, you know what, we're not dormant. We know our roots, and we want to sort of, you know, push the movement.
In terms of sponsoring the event, what made you just jump out and sponsor?
Why wouldn't you? Like I said to you before, it's just a good way of getting the content out, what I need to get out, getting the message out. Sponsoring you would obviously, me being here now, having this interview, is getting the point across what I want to make in terms of what I want to deliver and what I want to show the world what I can do. I think how I want to be remembered is a pioneer of moving the culture forward in my individual way, to be remembered as someone actually just pushing and just going all out and not playing no games.
where do you want to see the Alkhemist as a brand?
Definitely global. I mean, I want to see this in less than 10 years, if I'm honest. That's sort of my aim and objective, to get this out as soon as possible and sort of get the world know what we're about as a company. So definitely, that's sort of one of the things I want to kind of get across.
Where can people find you? Like, what are your social media handles? What's your website?
Yeah, so the website is alchemistvision.com. So instead of the C, the normal C for Alchemist is with a K, so it's ALKHEMIST vision.com. That's the website. You can purchase and look at all the merchandise. My Instagram is also Alchemist Vision, so ALKHMEIST Vision, and also on Facebook as well. And if you want to email me for any inquiries, then it's alchemistvision@gmail.com. Black History Activity Book launch Saturday the 5th of October from 12 till 7. Get your tickets at Eventbrite. Do not miss out, because what I'm looking to do is do exclusive garments just for the day, so exclusively manufactured and developed for people that are attending this event. So supporting the culture, you're supporting the movement, you're supporting the movement, you're supporting humanity, you're supporting humanity, then the world can grow. So yeah, let's do this.
Reciprocity, I love it.
Reciprocity. So